Welcome back to our North American Spring Split coverage. The teams are gearing up for round 2 of Immortals versus Team Liquid, and game number 1 was a very convincing performance from Immortals.
Yeah, there was that gigantic fight that ended up happening at the beginning, and that one had 5 kills. 4 of them went over to Immortals, and then they just started to clean up from there. And I think a big part of how they were able to just continue to push the game forward was Ole and Dardoch. I think that the combination that they had was really hard to beat because the Elise was lane ganking with mobility boots. Ole, no fear, flash forward, flay. He went for it pretty much every time it was off of cooldown, saying every 5 minutes, we're going to be able to try and get an advantage here. And they did just that. And that's something that I think is really cool to see from a player like Ole, who came over, was playing really defensive, playing Morgana, trying to pick people off. Now he's like hard engaged, primary engaged. They have Flame, who's also part of that engagement. But I think that for Immortals could be a winning recipe. Whereas on the other side, Piglet, he's been struggling a lot. His play, he's been picked out a whole bunch. Every time he gets behind, it's kind of easy to go and find him in a side lane by himself, pick him off, and they were able to take advantage of that on the Immortals side.
And the game looked like just a slippery slope in general in terms of Immortals just going out of control, Team Liquid losing any sort of semblance of a grip on the game, and Piglet was one of those guys that you could tell he was never able to get his footing back and find a spot to really build off of.
And I think that that's interesting to digest and like to discover a little bit more about, because Dardoch used to be teammate of Piglet, teammate of Matt's. Lorlo was his bro, right? Now he's playing for Immortals and he's figuring out where exactly to attack them. Go to the bottom lane, invade the jungle, put pressure on Reignover, because maybe he's like, okay, these guys maybe won't collapse as quickly and I have the backup. But the fact that he kept going bottom lane was just, you could tell his strategy, a little bit of it was tilt Piglet.
He knew the mental game.
Yep.
It's not just making the play itself, it's the consequence of that play, both on Summoner's Rift and off Summoner's Rift. And when Piglet was never able to get himself back in the mindset and the place to be a threat for that team, be the carry that he wanted to be, well, it became a pretty easy game, as we saw, 21-2, the final score for Immortals. If that's not convincing, I don't really know what is. And now Immortals are going to be the ones on the blue side, which means they get to enjoy a little bit more freedom and flexibility in the first part of the banning phase. They're going to take Graves and Elise off the table, heavily targeting Reignover.
Yeah.
Camille and Rengar, the first couple of bans from Liquid.
Last time they were targeting Reignover in terms of pressure, just trying to dismantle him from the jungle so he couldn't get his lanes going, and then just going from there. But the Varus ban, you expect LeBlanc to come out here unless you don't really care too much. I think she's the one that's kind of falling by the wayside in North America. In Korea, she's still incredibly popular, though.
Final ban on the side of Immortals is going to be Varus.
Yeah.
He's so strong with the lethality, people are just like, I don't want to deal with this champion. Just get him out of my game.
Yep. So you would expect Kha'Zix's first pick here for Immortals.
And sure enough, the call and the immediate response, that's going to be picked up for Dardoch. Last game, he absolutely took over the game with Elise. Didn't really feel too threatened by the Kha'Zix of Reignover. This time we'll have to see if he's able to make more happen on it himself.
Yep. And see if he can get snowballing. Team Liquid, though, on the opposite side, Zyra, Malzahar still on the table. Jhin, Ashe, both as well. So you'd take one. But that's the thing, is there's a lot of answers here, whereas the jungle's kind of pinched, and Reignover may have to take a jungler in the first round, which you don't always want to do, but you probably will do that here, because Rek'Sai could be the next ban that comes out from Immortals, and then they'll just pinch that pool even harder, maybe like an Ivern or something of the likes.
And when Varus is taken off the table, the remaining top lethality AD carry of Jhin obviously going to be a very alluring pick. And there's the Ivern that we're talking about. Reignover going to be picking that one up for himself. We've been seeing this champion get a lot more play recently, ever since it started showing up in other regions. It's worked its way over to North America. It's a very different jungling style. You're essentially a pseudo support. Even in the items that you build, it's all about helping the team, allowing Daisy to be a big tank. Have to see how well that works out for these guys.
Yep, and Immortals may go with the flex pick as well with the Misfortune. Because Zyra and Malzahar are both still up, they're going to test Team Liquid, be like, go ahead and pick one, see what happens. Because this is still a flex for Cody's son. And I honestly think that the Misfortune is a pretty decent matchup into the other AD carries like Jhin, like Varus, and Ashe as well. But they're going to flex it once again, and that gives them a ton of power in the second ban phase.
Pobelter going to go ahead and pick up that Rise for himself there in the mid lane. Some real power picks in the first part of the draft for both teams, as Corki is selected as the response against that by Team Liquid. Golden Glue is going to be on that champion this time around. Had to go up against it in the last game, so a couple of champions switching sides this time around. One thing I also want to go ahead and throw in there, just as a little bit of a fun fact, Kha'Zix is the most played champion by far for both of these junglers so far in the spring split. 7 games on it for Dardoch, 9 games on it for Reignover. The next most played champion for both of them is only 3 games. So these guys really like their Kha'Zix.
Yeah, Reignover's actually been kind of passing up the Kha'Zix a little bit recently. And he did still have a lot in the pool, like the Olaf as well. But he's kind of been pinched off that champion. It's hard to get your hands on it. But if the teams are prioritizing that and you are some of the strongest players, then you definitely go for that. I'm very surprised right now by Team Liquid banning away carry top laners away from Flame, mostly because of the fact that you have your mid laner. This is where they're probably gonna last pick their support again on Team Liquid side so that they know where the misfortune is. But this means that they most likely aren't going with a carry top laner themselves, despite having an Ivern who would provide the utility and tankiness that you would want. So they're probably going tank top.
Shen would definitely fit that descriptor, and that's who Team Liquid's going to be going with for Lorlo this time around. The bans, by the way, in the second part of that drafting phase, Zyra and Malzahar taken off the table by Immortals. Liquid, like you said, those carry top laners, the Rumble and the Jace, they're going to be denying those from Flame. And now Immortals will have to show their final and true hand with these last couple of picks, show exactly where that misfortune is going to be going this time around. Maokai picked up for Flame, did a great job on it in game number 1, looking to reprise that role here in game number 2. And what will the choice be for Olay? Is it going to be an AD carry for Cody, or is Cody going to be on MF and he's picking up another playmaker?
I think it's misfortune in the AD carry role. Because the 2 supports already being banned out, you wouldn't ban out these 2 supports if you weren't going to pick one of them. So that should have been a dead giveaway to TL that it was going to be a misfortune in the AD carry role as opposed to support.
And Thresh picked up for the second game in a row now. Olay looking to make the moves happen on that one. Olay's champion pool is a little bit different than some other people's, at least in what he's played so far. He's got more Morgana than anything else, and Thresh is actually tied for his second most. Now it has taken second most with these games. So really likes playing these champions that have that catch potential.
Yeah, it's interesting as well because they're banning out a lot of the champions that do well against it, like the Malzahar and the Zyra, because they poke you out of lane. Landing a hook against a Voidling is just absolutely impossible. It's like pretty much ridiculous. You can't do that with a consistent basis. So they ban those out. They give Olay a good matchup here, and then they put the AD carry as misfortune again in TL's composition. Double AD carry with Ivern and a big tank in the top lane. If Lorlo can beat Flame in that matchup, that'll kind of be the big thing I'm looking at here, is how that Shen tries to get an advantage over the Maokai, because then it just becomes a 1-3-1 or a split push terror.
Matt on the Karma again as the response to that Thresh there for the laning phase. Also going to be supplying some of those shields and speed ups and other general utility purposes in the team fights as this game goes on. Liquid has definitely got to be going into this game with a game plan to change something from game number 1. Because if they try to play the same hand, it's not going to work out too well for them. Hopefully they're still in the right place mentally. Hopefully this is a team that's not going to be tilting after a performance like that. That first game is one that could definitely get to anybody having that serious of a loss. So for Team Liquid's sake, hopefully they were able to, in the small break between the games, kind of get together, say this went wrong, this went wrong, this went wrong. Here's how we fix it.
Yep, and it just looks like, oh, swap it over. Ivern for Reignover, Shen for Lorlo. Bottom focus here. This keeps your bottom lane safe when you have double globals. So Piglet, he hates playing against things like Gangplank and Shen, but he loves playing with them because it's a party in the bottom lane all the time. And that's what he's going to try to do, is have a better performance this game, have the team focused around him a little bit more, and try to see if he can get TL that win.
And that's kind of one thing we've been talking about with Piglet. It's kind of been one of the stories about him ever since the AD carry meta has been towards utility AD carries. It's like Piglet wants to carry the game. He wants to play a hyper carry. He doesn't want to just provide CC from a long way away. So he doesn't want to play against an enemy team comp that's constantly going to be putting 4 bodies in his lane. He wants to be playing with a team that will give him as much assistance and help as possible so he can be that big checkmate piece for his team.
Yeah, I will say that AD carry has become quite accessible for players who may not have the same level of mechanics. Edge of Night isn't really like, oh, I juked you. It's I outplayed you by having a spell shield for 10 seconds.
Yeah, on a 30-second cooldown.
And most of don't trigger me like this. But still, the AD carries that are being played though are very heavily spell focused for the lethality. They walk up, they throw out a spell, etc. It's not a lot about the kiting. It's just your positioning relative to where you're poking from and the rest of your team. So if you have that down, then you could be a really good AD carry player right now, have some laning mechanics and all that. But we aren't seeing things like Callista. We aren't seeing things that have a high skill cap that you need to be able to perform on. And I know for a player like Piglet, when he gets outperformed by somebody that he actually thinks is worse than him, he gets kind of angry because he's like, I know that I can beat this guy, that this guy is not good. And it's kind of like the meta right now just sucks.
And that's what I'm talking about. You can't let that kind of mentality get to you after that first game. If you're thinking we should have won game number 1, everything went wrong, everything is bad, that's not going to work. Hopefully, that's not where these guys are at. As Reignover with what I think is one of the goofiest skins in the entire game of League of Legends, Candy Ivern with all his crazy bleep bloop sound effects. Going to be marching around the jungle, just laying down some of those groves and being ready to harvest them up later.
Yeah, he's actually doing a his own side start. He knows it got warded, so he's not going for an invade here, lest he gets completely destroyed. Yeah, you pointed at it. It's the Fervor for the top lane for Lorlo on the Shen. This is not uncommon. It actually just makes it so that when he gets the Tiamat, if he does go for that build, it's just so much attack damage. It's a lot of wave clear, but also just when he's hitting his opponent, it's really punishing. Shen does % HP magic damage, so you make sure that you do a decent amount of physical punch on top of it.
You got that 50-50 split. It's a little bit harder to itemize against him. Plus, he likes these extended trades. The whole point of the Spirit Blade is to get all 3 hits in there. As long as you can do that, the Fervor's going to be stacking up.
He had 8 right there.
Yourself.
8 stacks. Able to go for enough trades.
Teleports on both of these guys. Lorlo, of course, though, having that second teleport in the Stand United means he's going to be having a massive amount of global pressure as this game goes on. Last time around, you saw 2 teleports on the side of Team Liquid, one on the mid laner, the LeBlanc of Golden Glue. This time, you've only got 1 guy, but since he's got a double barrel teleport, he can still get all kinds of places.
Yeah, and I assume it's mostly going to be that bottom lane, trying to exert pressure. It's a low mobility misfortune. Once Daisy comes out, you pop it, you just send her under the turret, and she'll tank it for you for a bit. And the Shen is able to just get on in there. And Reignover going to look for a gank in the top lane. Ward is a little bit further out, so if Lorlo goes about now, then they may be able to stop the Maokai from not having to use a flash, but
Lorlo and Reignover seeing what they can
gets
find
vision.
here. Flame, he's going to be taunted up. Reignover is there looking to find even more. Brushmaker thrown down so he gets those ranged auto attacks. Continuing to lock Flame down. He's still got the flash to get away from this one. Doesn't have to use it. Flame recognizing that he would still be alive and saves the summoner spell.
Yep. Was a bit of a delay there for Lorlo to actually use the taunt, which was quite strange. But Flame's actually going to TP to a very unsafe place. He actually comes in right in the middle of the river, so could have been punished there if Reignover actually stuck around in that top bush and decides to back because Kha'Zix's going to take over the bottom side jungle, and Lorlo doesn't get to back in this time.
Dardoch may be returning to that bottom lane sooner than you think, though, considering Matt's flash is now down. That means that there's opportunities there that may not otherwise be available as Pobelter and Golden Glue just trading those shots back and forth in mid lane. Similar to what we saw last time, these guys are always looking to get that edge.
Yep. Going back and forth, trying to figure out if they can start getting roam priority and start moving through and getting control of the river. But what's happening right now is both junglers actually just full cleared their jungle, and they have nothing to do in terms of farming right now. So they're looking for gank opportunities. Half-heart, Ole, that's dirty. Now he's throwing the Lantern back to fake out that Dardoch is there. So they spend mana, spend an ultimate to start running backwards. Golden Glue!
Golden Glue forced to Valk back, did not want to be hit by that overload. Flame with some good positioning here in the top side. He's pretty comfortable in the way he's controlling this so far. He's got a big minion wave, so Lorlo does not want to be fighting him in that one. Flame can just shove this up. With Dardoch on the way, he's not really afraid of being ganked again by Reignover. Kha'Zix and Maokai feeling comfortable enough to fight that too.
Oh, looks like Dardoch's going to try to go kill his homeboy. Try to go for Lorlo.
What's it going to be? Pobelter is here as well. Flame's going to be the one tanking the turret. Remember, he can drop the aggro with Twisted Advance. Does it perfectly. First blood for Dardoch.
Picks up Lorlo there. Pobelter also getting involved with the roam. And now mid lane gets shoved up. Top lane gets shoved up, but now Lorlo is just punished super hard. Doesn't have the TP to get back in the lane. It's going to go down about 10 CS early. This also stops you from wanting to go that Tiamat build, wanting to go for decent damage and wave clear early. You do that if you get a lead. If you get behind, then it's definitely not one you want to go for. You delay your tankiness. He might get dove even more. The taunt onto Flame, and drops the aggro with the W, like you said. And that's like, yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
that was good.
That's exactly the way they needed to play it out. Make sure Maokai's tanking it first. As soon as he's in danger, bam, turret's off of him. Dardoch eats a single shot, and they grab the kill.
Yeah, and this throws me back to when Dardoch was on TL. He would gank bottom lane all of the time, and Matt was the one who would play Alistar, start getting aggro, and then go in, tank it for as much as possible. Dardoch would get the kill. Dardoch had one of the highest first bloods and highest participation in the first 15 minutes. He actually believe in spring of 2015, he was #1 in pre-15 participation for junglers, but it was all bottom lane focused. Is 3-man dives. That's what Dardoch really loves, is those 3-man dives.
And we saw so much of those classic Alistar dives where you headbutt, pulverize, and then immediately start walking out, stand on the edge of the turret range until you have one more hit, and then you just spend so much time, it's so easy to pick it up.
Yep.
But Maokai doesn't even have to worry about that. He just drops the aggro by pressing his Twisted Advance, which locks the guy down anyway. It's the best of both worlds, and now Flame, 0-0-1. He's got the assist. He's got a nice CS lead for himself. Rainover just moseyed on over, took away that blue buff, got Golden Glue, the extra one, and that's the cool thing you can do with Ivern is you get that quadra buff scenario. Yep. Rainover taking another trip here into the top side. He's got Daisy out this time. Brushmaker has been placed. He's got the enchanted auto attacks. Knockup comes out. Flame trying to get away from this one. Matt's here as well, and they're surely going to be chopping this tree down today. Lorlo grabbing the kill credit.
That's the right play there from Rainover. Took over the topside jungle, gave a buff to the mid lane, so mid lane's going to be okay for a bit. You know that Dardoch and Pobelter both are not on that top side of the map, and so go gank that lane. And then the extra whammy is Matt's there. So support's roaming that early on, getting out of the lane phase and just being able to contribute, give some extra speed so you don't have to waste any flashes of your own. Makes it not even just a kill, but a flash advantage on top of it.
Now, the last time, in game #1, when Team Liquid got their first kill, Immortals got 4, and the game just completely spiraled out of control from there. So now in game #2, 1-1, 300 gold difference. Liquid's fine with this. This is
this is okay.
This is okay. This is a totally normal situation that anything can still happen. Matt moving around making those plays is a good sign, shows that they're not shaken and sort of afraid after game #1's results. They're still looking to be proactive, get themselves ahead through any means they can find, even if it's a little bit unorthodox. And one thing I'm also going to be looking for, as I do in every game with mid lane Corki, is can he use those early packages effectively? It's so hard to find an opportunity to really get a good delivery with those.
Yeah, and especially in pro play where everybody's really conscious of when it's been picked up, and they kind of get on alert, make sure that they don't get picked up by it or destroyed. But this matchup right now, it's been going back and forth. It's been very even between these two mid laners who have actually struggled the most in the league. I believe they're number 10 and number 11 for CSD at 10.
That's not a typo, by the way. Alex each counts because he played as a substitute for Envy. So there is a number 11. That's not just Zyrene taking shots.
Yeah, I think it's Golden Glue is actually number 11, and Pobelter was number 10. So still top 10.
Still top 10. That's one way to look at it. Top 10 in the North American LCS. Rainover grabbing the blue buff for himself. And since he's got that nice blue candy sitting on the ground, that means Golden Glue can just walk over, refresh that, and continue the non-stop rocket spam.
Yep. Very annoying, and the fact that they had blue buff control on the top side, like that's the big thing playing against Ivern is you can't leave your buffs alone for even a second. Hide your buffs, hide your blues, hide your reds.
Hide everything because he's coming.
Oh, hide your bot lane.
Grab him easy. Daisy is summoned. And the dive may be coming out just momentarily. Curtain call opened up. Olay gonna be eating those shots first and foremost. Number 3 and 4 both hit Cody's son, but the damage is just not there, and Daisy is thrown to the wolves. Gonna be shot down by that turret. Cody grabbing the kill credit for it, an extra 50 gold for him. Brushmaker is here to just provide a little bit of extra confusion, but it's not really doing a whole lot other than giving Rainover a couple of extra ranged auto attacks. He goes back, collects the Grove on the Scuttle Crab, and the gank just sort of fizzles out.
Yeah. Good play there as well from Immortals. They didn't have to blow any summoner spells to get out of it. They were able to control the wave, make sure it wasn't diveable, and there wasn't really a tank there to even do anything and and assist in the dive. But this actually is Immortals' 4-man bottom lane. Rise was also looking to come down here, but it looks like they're just going to back off. So you look for those plays for a few seconds, then you back off because you're just wasting your time, your efficiency of farming the jungle.
I'm talking about not having a tank down there. It's kind of interesting because Rainover, they did sort of have a half tank, right? Because they had Daisy. And Rainover's almost like a champion and a half because you get this extra big tanky meatball that'll go in there and just take hits for you. Yeah, it's not the smartest thing in the world. It acts kind of stupid sometimes, but it still takes a lot of hits and it provides free CC. Dardoch deciding to go over the wall, look to solo out this Mountain Drake. Not going to be spotted out at all by Team Liquid just yet, but Matt happens to be taking a stroll through the area and is going to see something funny going on. Dardoch's got to be disappointed about that one. Piglet hanging around. Gold Blue's got the package delivery. Lantern over the wall, going to be keeping Dardoch safe. Bullet time right back into the pit. Can Dardoch go in and secure it? Yes, he can. He's going to pay for it, but he'll take that trade.
Yep. Primed it, but then everybody collapsed. Got it. Looks like the Rain Over Smite came out. Don't think Dardoch even smited that there. Just got it with a claws. Got it with a Q.
Yeah, Rain Over Smite left it with 192 or something along those lines, so just a little bit of a premature trigger pull.
Yeah, but that's not the incorrect play as well, because you know that what the Kha'Zix is going to be doing is Q smite.
Yeah.
So you just have to time it as if your smite is his smite. So he jumped in. You think he's priming the Q as soon as he's there and then smiting, but
it was a good wait from Dardoch, as now Pobelter trying to find some damage onto Golden Glue underneath the turret. Going to be taking a lot of his own, though. Daisy used bottom yet again. This time looking for turret first blood. Deadly Flourish onto Cody's Sun. Turret still likely going to be dropping here. The root is not going to find the stun onto Sun.
Yeah.
And Team Liquid walks away with turret first blood and a 1,000 gold lead.
Yep. Oh, Golden Glue going in on Pobelter.
Golden Glue trying to make the move. Stand United, keeping him alive, making sure he's not going to be losing that trade as Dardoch comes in and cleans him off. Now Lorlo's in trouble. Immortals has turned this around. They grab one. Number 2's forced to flash away.
Yeah, they had to run down that way because Flame was actually coming in from the backside. So that you would think, okay, why isn't he just running back towards his turret? Golden Glue actually got sectioned off by a roam there.
Lorlo now left to sit here in mid lane, mop up some of these minions a little bit. Redemption up and active on Reign Over. An important thing to point out, this item for a long time was really ridiculously strong, and now it's just really strong because the heal got hurt, but it's still the same scaling later on in the game, and Ivern is one of the few junglers that likes to build it.
Yeah, it's the reverse lethality change where, oh, it's weaker early, but ends up being the same later. Hold on, I can't watch that.
Cody's taking shot after shot after shot after shots. Piglet grabbing the kill.
Flashes into it. Still, I believe, has heal at the time. Damn.
That
Piglet
was
with the prediction.
Well done. This is why this guy is frustrated when he feels he's losing to players that are worse than him, because he can do reads like that. What a shot.
That was insane.
So that's his first kill of the game. Now he's 1-0-1. He's got his Ghost Blade done. His opponent has the Ghost Blade done. And unlike last game where Piglet was sitting on an Ashe that has to build an Essence Reaver, go for the kind of outdated 2016 crit build, instead, he's playing lethality as well. He's going to be hitting the early power spikes. He's going to have that same influence in the fights that Cody would.
Yep. Cody will have that ultimate, but Piglet has that catch potential. And since they've opened up the bottom lane, this is actually almost, I believe it's really close to the same frame. The Redemption does not go off. He flashes, and right there, it hits about the same time. That is so close to giving the heal over, making it so that the ultimate doesn't do as much percent missing HP damage, and may have not been a kill there.
That was a hostile Redemption. That was Reign Over's Redemption.
Oh, okay.
So it wouldn't have healed him anyway.
What am I doing?
It wouldn't have healed him anyway.
Yeah.
It would have just bopped him. I actually think it did bop him a little bit.
Yeah, I think it did. What am I doing, man?
To be fair, sometimes in Spectator, Redemption is hard to tell whose Redemption actually is.
It's blue.
Yeah, it's
until the
blue.
very last second.
It looks like it's going to heal him, but then all of a sudden, the fourth bullet from hell comes in and does its job, and Piglet finds himself
so
a well-deserved kill.
So literally not as cool, but still ridiculous. Ivern did actually get it off there because it ended up giving an assist over, whether that was Reign Over providing a shield to Piglet while he was just standing around. No. So yes, the Redemption did go off. Okay, good.
One thing I want to comment on too, since some people might not know this, but we've watched Ivern plant his Grove on the Krugs a couple of different times now. Ivern is actually the only champion in the game that gets a raw deal on Krugs, because when he sets them free or whatever he thematically does to the jungle critters, he only sets these two free. All the little baby ones that come out when they die, those don't even count. So he gets less gold and experience from that camp than any other jungler in the game.
Yep, it's a little bit of a compensation there for the other power that he has. I mean, I will take about, what is that? 4. I'll even take like 100 gold dip just to be able to give extra buffs to my laners. Like that seems like a steal.
It's a fair trade. It is definitely a fair trade. as now Team Liquid hanging around here in this mid lane, trying to see if they can find any sort of an option, just clearing out some of these wards, trying to get some extra control over the area. The control ward from Immortals on the other side of that wall, though, going to be spotting it out if they decide to toss any over there. Dardoch towards this top side in case they want to do anything cheeky, priming some kind of a dive onto Flame, but a level 11 Maokai is not the kind of guy you go for a dive onto. Now Dardoch looking to make the moves onto Golden Glue. Stand United going to be used. The exhaust is down. Redemption coming out. Golden Glue kept healthy. Rainover coming right back into the fight. Curtain Call opens up as well. Trying to target Dardoch, instead switching fire over to Olay. The fourth shot hits Dardoch, so does Inner Flame, and Piglet with snipe number 2.
And Piglet on fire this game so far. Great ultimates. Believe he picks up that one with, I think that might have been Deathfire Touch there. The W came out. I think it might have just been enough, so. He's actually, I think he might be a little angry from that last game.
That Piglet has some kind of a mission, some kind of a vendetta to find now, but Dardoch's attempt on Golden Glue here just does not work out.
Yep, Golden Glue with the exhaust there. That is actually a friendly one for the red team. When the Redemption comes out. Shoots one at Olay too, so Piglet does get an assist on top of it. Hits him there. I think that's the Karma ulti going off, and then the Deathfire Touch finishing him in the very last tick at the same time.
I thought the Deadly Flourish looked like a miss there, but then it said Piglet has slain him, but that makes sense. The explosion from the Enchanted Inner Flame and Deathfire Touch just did the last 1 damage, as now the Drake
TP from
fight.
behind here.
The Drake fight is the story of the game. Flame looking to find that pincer move, but Pobelter's taking a lot of burst. Cody's done with the ult over the wall. He's exhausted for it, though. The damage isn't there. Still looking to make some kind of a move if they can. Cody's son low on mana. Immortals retreating back into the brush that Rainover generated earlier. Dardoch forced to hop out over the wall, and Team Liquid have found this Drake.
Yeah, TL with enough damage. The Trinity Force from Golden Glue just does so much right now. These guys have hit great spikes, and this is where you want the gold. You don't want your Ivern to pick up a whole bunch of kills. The 5 assists for Rainover actually means a lot here, because that means Golden Glue, Piglet, the 2 people that he will be protecting and providing extra shields and heals for, are the 2 people that have the gold. So that's really good for TL.
And going back to what we were talking about earlier, how this champion is so different with the Ivern, how this is essentially a pseudo-support played in the jungle, even through his itemization. Redemption item number 1, Locket for item number 2, means you're going to be having these big-ticket support items, the big shields, the big heals, that make you deceptively hard to kill, you and your allies, in these big team fights.
It gets very annoying for the enemy team very quickly when he has this instant shield that's so big. He has the bonus to the shield from the Redemption. Then the Redemption can come out and heal the person that you had done damage to, but you couldn't get through the shield fast enough. Like, it just becomes a snowball effect with Ivern's items all really synergizing with each other quite well. I believe the Athene's Unholy Grail, or maybe even the Ardent Censer, will come out for him since it was buffed previously.
Collecting that Krug camp yet again, throwing him out a pile of candy. As Immortals are still only down 1,000 gold. It's a 5-2 game in the favor of Team Liquid. 2 turrets compared to 0. But Immortals is making sure that that advantage doesn't become too inflated just yet. They're still in a spot where they can come back and win themselves a fight. They just got to find a good way to do it, because last time we saw what could have been a pretty solid ultimate from Cody's son, but the immediate exhaust from Team Liquid shut that down.
And the double exhaust, they do have to play around that. Dardoch jumped in, got exhausted. Talking about the previous one as well. These exhausts have been quite difficult to deal with.
And that's one of the advantages of mid lane Corki, right?
Yep.
We talk about how Corki's powerful, he's got all this poke, he's got split damage and things like that, but something that's not even part of his kit, the fact that you can take the exhaust comfortably in mid lane, it's really, really useful.
And you still have mobility with your ulti, or sorry, with your package.
Your passive, sort of built into him.
It's your passive. It's funny, because when you're playing with a Corki player, the green dot is actually his package cooldown. They don't want to show you the rocket cooldown every 2 seconds. They show you
that
the
would be kind of
cooldown.
obnoxious if you had the green light on the rocket refreshing itself every 2 seconds.
Yeah, in Spectator, it's the rocket. But when you're playing alongside one, looks like he's going to exhaust Pobelter.
Pobelter not in a good spot in this 1 versus 1, having to run himself away. Redemption going to be used, trying to get him, and Rainover takes the kill on the very edge of that Redemption.
Oh, so he's been, I actually think we've seen 2 offensive Redemption uses so far, 1 defensive one. Rainover, he's not messing around. He's trying to get some assistance in there, get some kills, cut off options, and that's really cool that he's throwing them down lanes, just making sure that Oh, that's a kill. He's not going to get away. Piglet, though.
Piglet going to be forced to flash over that wall. He's exhausted, almost taken down by the bullet time. But yeah, you and I are talking about, man, it's so annoying trying to kill Ivern's team when all he does is heal him the whole time. He throws down the redemption and keeps him alive. It's also pretty annoying when Ivern snipes your team as they're trying to run away from the rest of them.
Yep, and even if you do get in, they have a Shen, another shield on top of it to provide extra survivability. So it's going to be so hard to kill Piglet, so hard to kill Golden Glue. They don't have their summoner spells right now. We'll see. They're fast.
Cody, Dardoch, and Pobelter trying to catch somebody out here. Golden Glue's going to be Rune Prison up and immediately bursted down. Reignover now alone. Not a lot of fighting capability on his own. A support by himself is not a champion in his intended position. And Dardoch's grabbing that kill. 3-2 now on this Kha'Zix. Some free money going the way of Immortals. A good catch from them. However, considering another turret went down on their side, the Team Liquid lead continues to grow.
Yep, and we're seeing so many different Kha'Zix builds, but this was an evolved wings from Dardoch to get a reset on the jump, and Olay caught out.
Olay in trouble again. 0-2 now in this game. Dardoch getting himself away from the remaining shots on that curtain call. Another turret, another kill for Team Liquid.
Oh my god, okay. Reignover picks up Zeke's Herald here, or the Harbinger. I wonder who he's going to combine with here, because Jhin, don't really need to give him critical strike chance. Critical strike chance is actually worth about 1/3 of the value, because you're only critting on 1/3 of the time, because you can auto crit on the other one. Dardoch gets the reset, jumps over, goes after Reignover here. So he actually has a Youmuu's Ghostblade on top of it too. So we see Kha'Zix builds that go for Edge of Night second, Black Cleaver, Youmuu's Ghostblade, very aggressive build here for him to just run around. We're seeing that he actually prioritizes movement speed quite highly, whether it's the mobility boots on Elise or the Youmuu's. Dardoch is trying to be active on the map and trying to set his team up for success early on.
Dardoch may be looking to go for Golden Glue here, but the problem is Golden Glue has package. Even if Dardoch goes for it, yeah, he just gets himself away. It blows the package though, so they don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yep. Made him jump and Valkyrie away and check where Reignover is using the Harbinger at the moment.
One thing I want to comment on here too, because we were having this conversation a little bit earlier about Lorlo initially falling behind in the top lane, saying, you know, he might not want to be going for that early Tiamat because then you're not tanky enough. Titanic Hydra, his lone completed item right now.
Yeah.
He did go for that offensive choice.
He had the Spectre's Cowl, and then he picked up a Tiamat after they actually started getting into the game. Because when you're the first death, you're like, all right, it's tank time, it's tank time. Depending on how far behind you get, is it still tank time? Well, they ended up picking up a few kills. Bottom side of the map was doing really well, so provide pressure on the top side. And who did he use it on? It is on Golden Glue. Makes a lot of sense there for the Zeke's Harbinger to be on him.
Corki crits hurt a lot when those things connect.
And they're half magic damage crits too. So it actually is very, very difficult to itemize against him. Trinity Force on top of it as well. So
even if it is hard to itemize against it, Flame is starting to become that tanky Maokai that everybody knows and fears. Frozen Heart and Spirit Visage both already completed on him. Means not only does he have health and magic resistance and armor, he's got 30% cooldowns, which means that many more Twisted Advances, Arcane Smashes, and just general CC and control chaos in these team fights.
Yeah, a ton of CC to provide his team with. Lorlo, it's really just the CC and the shield, as well as the W dodge zone, but the dodge zone actually doesn't mean much against this team. Spell-based Rise, and then you have a spell-based Misfortune, but
Olay gets a hook onto Matt, and they're looking to go deep on this one, perhaps. Olay going to be taken low, but Matt as well. Curtain Call opened up to provide some kind of an escape route, but Bullet Time shows up and forces Team Liquid back. That was also a fight that Team Liquid was willing to push up onto the turret because Dardoch took the Drake.
Exactly, Dardoch had taken the Drake. Hold on, jumping in. Not going to get anything for it. Pobelter has to go back to mid because the Titanic Hydra is just doing work on that Shen. And Lorlo just has split push agency. He's able to just exert pressure across the map. Most likely rotates to the bottom side afterwards. We'll see. Actually, isn't a second tier 2. There isn't a tier 2 turret for him there, so they're probably going to go mid-top, play around that area since Baron is up, or if they want to abuse globals, that's when he goes bottom side.
Misfortune, Cody's son, prioritizing the percent armor shred over the flat armor shred this game too. Wants to make sure that those bullet times are just reducing as many people as he can. Also going to be very helpful for Dardoch to have that armor shredded away, because Black Cleaver doesn't just help you, it helps your team.
Exactly. I think that that is a really good thing to point out too, because helps Dardoch, but also Edge of Night versus a Corki is actually not amazing because he can poke it off really quickly. That's why a lot of people don't like Banshees. Hold on, we might be in a base race situation here where they're going to start trading turrets. Inside track onto Baron, though, for Immortals, but I don't think they have the vision denial to actually pull this off.
Team Liquid's turret lead is now 5-1.
Yes.
They are playing the objective game way better than Immortals this time around. You can see they're always the ones with their offensive foot forward. Immortals always having to guard, as Pobelter going to be chased away now. Golden Glue and Rainover just threatening him out of his own jungle with Daisy lumbering around. It's kind of hard to stand there and try to fight him when you know that knockup's going to be coming your way if you don't get out.
Yep, providing cover for Flame, who was shoving the top wave in so that it hits turret. And Piglet's going to run up there and pick that one up by himself.
Lorlo ever present in that bottom lane. TP almost up. Stand united, ready to go. In case Immortals tries anything, Team Liquid will be there and be capable of trying to fight him unless Matt gets destroyed first. Cody's son grabbing the kill with bullet time, as Immortals now have their chance to go for some kind of a push onto mid lane. The tier 1 turret going to be eating quite a lot of damage. Pobelter walking right back into that Ivern queue.
Lorlo is going back and forth between a flank position and just continuing to go bottom. So it looked like he was still struggling to figure out exactly what he wanted to do there. They had lost Matt, but didn't feel like enough of the cooldowns of Immortals had actually been used, even though it was the Misfortune bullet time.
Just not really where Team Liquid wanted to see themselves, giving up a free kill like that. We were just talking about how they had so much control over the game, and then Matt gets himself in a really questionable position and ends up yielding a little bit of that control. But if there's one thing that might be able to get you back into the driver's seat, it's this big, shiny package that Golden Glue is waiting to deliver if he can find anywhere to put it.
Now they have a playmaking tool for a little bit here. It's time to check in on the Juggernaut matchup in the bot lane. Hold on, Olay, though.
Speaking of package deliveries, Golden Glue looking to make one right now. Curtain call opens up. Golden Glue's got it. Pobelter comes over the wall. Golden Glue may just get punished for this. Instead, finds his way out. Stand United going to be used, keeping this guy nice and safe, as Team Liquid has managed to pick off the Immortals support this time around, moving themselves up into the enemy jungle, taking away the camp, setting up the vision, and getting ready.
And now TL, they're going to move towards Baron because they need to get the teleport out of Flame. If they get the TP out, then that's fine, but they may be able to just do it. So this is kind of a win-win for Immortals if they play it right. Or sorry, win-win for TL if they play it right, and they get the global.
Immortals looking to stop this if they can. Baron taken down below half HP. It's Brushmakered, so it's hard to see. Flame right into the middle of the fight. Very nice bullet time. Matt destroyed instantly. Rainover's about to be number 2, and Flame just does not care. Dardoch goes right back in. Golden Glue's low. Lorlo's out over the wall. Flame and Cody's son still looking to maybe make some more happen. Pobelter has the triple kill with the Realm Ward.
And comes up huge in that fight. What was TL doing? They went for a Baron, they got the global out. That's what you should just do, is peel off afterwards. Piglet is literally behind the pit. He is doing no damage to the Baron. That has been the story of TL the last few games that we have seen them, is Piglet on the backside of the Baron. Immortals punish that so hard. Let's watch that again. You get the global out. Then great, you have teleport advantage. Disengage, go bottom. And now Piglet's on the back. Bullet time comes out. Shred onto Matt. Rainover now has his armor decreased. Piglet now gets caught when he walks up, and they just get destroyed. There is no Thresh here. That is a 4-on-5 that should be in favor of TL. And from a macro perspective, they should have just played the macro game.
And a big warm welcome to all the viewers from our other stream who are now going to be joining us. You arrived just in time to see the entire momentum and tempo of the game shift in the other direction, as Team Liquid has been in control up until now, but a very costly throw at Baron now puts Immortals right where they want to be.
Yep, and it gives Pobelter level 17. Like, that is huge. He is approaching level 18, 2 levels up over Golden Glue, and almost that 10 CS per minute mark. Like, Pobelter, this is a good game for his rise. He is doing quite well right now, and the Baron picked up. They get even more off of this. You were talking about how they didn't even have a single turret to their name until they traded the top turret, but I have a feeling Immortals are going to pick up more now with that Baron buff.
That's what they would like to do. This turret count needs to even itself up pretty quickly. There's a lot of pretty much standing money just waiting to be grabbed by these guys Outer turrets are not really worth protecting at this point in time, not when the enemy team is as strong as they are, not after that big mistake. So Immortals will just be rotating around, going from turret to turret, hopping from free objective to free objective, getting more money for themselves.
Yep, as where you just get those outer turrets, you're like, all right, we were down a lot of gold, but hey, we hadn't picked up the gold that was just sitting there from the turrets. And yeah, the damage in that last fight.
So much from both mid laners, honestly. The only two breaking 4K in the fight, and Olay with an impressive 0.
Yeah, he wasn't there. I'm very surprised that Cody Sun was only 1,500. He got the bullet time out, softened people up, but that's all it took, apparently, to actually just help his team out.
I was kind of hoping Olay would get in at the very end, maybe respawning and just like find a random flay onto somebody to get on the board, but apparently not. Dardoch forced to hop away underneath the tier 2. Lorlo defending as best he can, but these Baroned up minions are so hard to deal with.
Yep, and so what we're learning here is that TL, they'll have an advantage, but they aren't playing the macro game quite right. They aren't abusing champions like Shen and trying to play a global game and play it slower. Instead, Immortals, when they get a lead, we're learning that they know that they can punish a team like TL, that they can surge ahead. TL took them forever to get something like a 4,000 gold lead, and now Immortals, in the matter of a Baron buff, already have that.
Immortals have completely retaken this game in terms of who's in charge. They've got the Drake again for themselves. Dardoch did a good job getting Drake number 3 back a while ago. When Team Liquid was still in control, he hopped over the wall, soloed it down. Kha'Zix's very effective at that with the isolation bonus on the claws. He easily grabs it again there, even though Flame came by and dropped him a sapling or two. It was still mostly a solo. And now, their 1 turret count has expanded up to 4. And they've got a couple of tier 2s left to take in these side lanes when they feel comfortable doing that. Baron buff about to run out for these guys, so when they do finally march up there, it's going to be with no extra bonuses.
Yep, going for that turret. Split pushing as well. Flame is about to have his teleport back up, and Piglet actually was the person now that Reignover swapped his Zeke's Harbinger to. So it's about 1/3 his value, but it is a lot of attack damage on Piglet, 370 right now.
And Piglet's had some awesome skill shots so far this game. A couple of clutch 4th shots, some other deadly flourishes getting close. So they still might be able to find a win condition off the back of his accuracy and proficiency. But he's definitely got his work cut out for him compared to what they were working with earlier. Lorlo still a threat in this split push scenario, still keeping up with Flame, the guy known for out-CSing his opponents to a grand degree, only 15 up compared to that Shen. 3 items fully completed on both of them as the curtain call opens up. Cody Sun's gonna be pulled to safety. Dardoch tries to bob and weave, but he's forced to flash over the wall just to get away. No deaths for Immortals though, that's the important part.
Yep, still gets away. Pressure on the top side, Pobelter now able to deal some damage to this turret. Has Cody Sun come up, so they'll be able to pick this one up before any answer from TL.
As soon as Cody gets up there, it only takes those 3 shots to turn that turret into rubble. And now the objective count is tied up and even. And Immortals have themselves an almost 4K gold lead as Reignover continues just trying to maintain any semblance of control over his own jungle. You saw for the first part of this game, Team Liquid across the river. Immortals were always underneath a turret. It was Liquid throwing down the wards and stealing away the camps and just being the ones being decisive. And now everything has changed after that Baron play. Immortals are the ones in enemy territory. Immortals are the ones saying, hey, this used to be yours, but this is ours now. So see ya. Get out of here. Next Drake is also going to be Elder, and considering Immortals have a much larger Elemental Drake count, it's going to be very scary if they can lock that one away.
Have a little bit of everything that they would want.
Ooh, Thornmail now on Flame as well, so those auto attacks are...
This is actually like the anti-Lorlo Shen build. He knows that that's going to be the person he has to go up against, so he's actually building mostly to deal with Lorlo. He has attack speed slows from 2 different sources with the Randuins and the Frozen Heart, which means nothing against something like Piglet, who's mostly spell-based, etc. You'll lower the AD, but it's not a huge deal. But then he has... magic resistance, make sure that he's not taking so much damage from Lorlo, but also the physical damage that Lorlo puts out is actually quite immense with the Titanic.
Oh, Pobelter gets interrupted. A nice package delivery from Golden Glue. Shutdown for Piglet.
Yep, Pobelter caught out there. Looked like he was trying to be cheeky. Pops the Realm Warp, but they were ready for it. Now, Immortals, I don't know if they can actually make a rotation to the bottom side swiftly enough to actually make this a turret trade. That goes in their favor overall, because this is going to be Golden Glue pushing top. They'll get this. And now, I believe the idea would be to stop
Stop Golden Glue's push.
Yeah.
Make it so it's not a 1-for-1. Trinity Force Corki, though, very, very effective.
Yes.
Fire off a rocket, shoot the turret. Fire off a rocket, shoot the turret. Pretty easy and abusive pattern to work one of those down very rapidly.
Yeah, the Trinity Force and double AD compositions or double marksman compositions are so popular, mostly because Corki's mixed damage and the fact that he can shred turrets as well.
Dardoch with that Edge of Night, just walking around with it on all the time whenever he's going for a buff or jumping into something.
Oh yeah, that Edge of Night feels really good. You pop it, and when you think, like, basically you're playing safe all game, you pop it, you're like, I have 10 seconds to do whatever I want, be as dumb as I want, run forward. Pobelter not offered that luxury.
Not today. Not today.
Is like a small displacement there from the package, and it ends up interrupting the Realm Warp.
That's all you need sometimes. It doesn't have to be a massive knock up into the air, not some huge CC ultimate ability. Instead, just the slight knockback on the package delivery, enough to make it so they grab the free kill onto the notorious POB, put them in the dirt and give themselves a little bit more control back over this game. A 3,000 gold lead when the score is 66-63 in terms of the thousands of gold separating them. It's not the biggest thing in the world. It's not like 3K back when it's 10-13, right?
Yep.
So there's still an easy possibility for Liquid to win these fights if they find good positioning, find ways for those curtain call shots to hit the value targets. But at the same time, man, if Immortals can manage to get Dardoch rampaging through these fights, or Pobelter, or a big ulti from Cody Sun, it could be GG either way.
Yeah, it really could be. Game pretty much on the knife's edge right now, going back and forth. But TL have had the advantage for a bit now. And this Baron, the question is, does TL play for the global play again, try to get the TP out, and then reset, which you would imagine is the play that they would want to go for with a Shen and trying to abuse the champion. But it hasn't been the case.
One thing I want to bring up, too, is with these Zeeks that we saw purchased on the Ivern, as well as the Rapid Fire and Infinity Edge on the Corki, 100% crit Corki.
Yep.
With special magic-enhanced crits.
Yeah, they'd actually put it back on him. So Reignover, everybody's getting a little bit of the Zeke's Harbinger love. Going back and forth between Piglet and Golden Glue. Ooh, looking at Cody Sun's build. So he purchased a Serrated Dirk and they started going for a Last Whisper item. Completes the Lord Dominic's Regards. That's not always going to be the most efficient here. You're up against an Ivern. You're up against a Shen with Grasp. And so there is a decent amount of healing here with like Redemption, etc. that you should be conscious of. And he has a Black Cleaver, so his HP, which is higher than Piglet's, so he doesn't get anything out of it. It's higher than Matt's, doesn't get anything out of it. It's about 200 less than Golden Glue's. It's pretty close to Reignover's as well.
1v1 between the mid laners. Golden Glue looking to make the moves. Pobelter popping the shield, getting himself away. Lorlo goes stand united just to make sure. Ulti expended by Team Liquid, pretty important there, but Immortals still looking to make something happen. Pobelter is down, Golden Glue grabbing the kill, curtain call opened up, Immortals in full retreat. But Daisy's in hot pursuit. Flame just doesn't care about walking past 4 different people. He is a Maokai and he knows it, but now the collapse is coming. Cody Sun's got the ulti coming out and Piglet is history! Right over 2, now they're looking for even more. Critical error from Team Liquid, looking to go onto that Maokai like that. Didn't they learn last game? Lorlo can't taunt over the wall. He's not going anywhere. And Immortals are looking for Baron.
Cody Sun sets up, Flame goes in, and Cody guns him down. Big play there from the AD carry. And the whole team, gets another.
Golden Glue hangs around just a little bit too long. Matt with the flash over the wall, keeping himself alive. But Zyrene, at the end of game number 1, I talked to you, I said, man, Zyrene, I really like that play where Flame set up the bait for the bullet time and Cody Sun went boom, 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 boom. And now in game number 2, it's the same thing, but more extreme.
Yeah, Flame just gets in there. And we think about the combo that they had on Friday. Misfortune, boom, the setting up, and then the ultimate from Nautilus previously. This is, again, the Maokai throwing out the W, the root.
Pobelter tries to go back around here for some kind of a play onto Golden Glue.
Yeah, and Golden Glue, it's actually ones that gives him a heal. TL, Piglet starts shooting, Edge of Night. Watch as the sapling takes off Edge of Night, and then Flame is like, wait a second. He done goofed. They jump in, across 2 to 3 people. Lorlo wants to stay out of it, keep his armor, but they have no interruption. Who's gonna interrupt it? The taunt was used. They have nothing to actually interrupt. That's the problem right now, is they don't have CC. You can't stop this Misfortune ultimate.
No. And Reignover, on this champion that we were talking about, he's so annoying in extended fights. He's going to give you so many shields and so many heals. You can't do it when you eat 12 waves of bullet time and you drop right next to your AD carry. And now Immortals still on Baron. In this replay, Dardoch goes over the wall, kaboom. Look at how happy he is, man. He knows that he just can pop over the wall and kill him that easily. Plus, they've got Elder Drake. Elder Drake and Baroned up Immortals with a 7,000 gold lead. Scary stuff.
I mean, it's got to feel good as well, being the only player on your team that was really performing at a high level for a bit. Now, when I was talking to him, he was saying, I feel really comfortable now after this week of scrims. I feel like everybody's pulling their weight, everybody's doing their job, and now I can focus on my play, and the whole team's coming up big.
They're doing it again this game, too. Working as
Realm
a unit.
Warp.
Striking
Flame in.
together. Realm Warp.
Flame on.
Looking to go right there into the fight. Flames in the middle of everyone. No fear here. Right back onto the back line. Golden Glue is out of there. Bullet time comes through. Dardoch looking to go big into Reset City. He grabs the ones who matter. Rainover's going to be dropping next, even with a GA. I don't think it's going to be doing much of anything. Flame walks into the turret just to say he could. Rainover goes down. GA is going to bring him back in just a moment. But what is Ivern and Shen going to do about this? Nexus turrets now under pressure. And after a rough first half of the game, Immortals are looking to end this one 2-0. Rainover is down for real this time. Lorlo is as well. The ace comes through, and IMT has their 2-0.
I start off 2-4, but now they are 500. They are 4-4, even record at the end of week 4 for Immortals.
That has got to be a phenomenal feeling. You come into the week 2-4, you end on 4-4, the clean sweep through the week, you're right back into the middle of the pack. Sky's the limit.
And that's the thing is Immortals, they looked really good. They looked like they were performing at a higher level than before. They definitely seemed like top half of the standings. And people are like, whoa, how did they surge up so quickly? Takes that 2-0. That's all it took. Now they're looking at Phoenix 1. They're looking at teams like that saying, all right, we have the same amount of wins. If they start losing, they start slipping, Immortals will take their spot.
And that team play that we were talking about throughout this entire series is a lot of fun to watch when everybody on the team is pulling their weight, when Dardoch is grabbing the picks, when Flame is setting up the plays, tanking 5 people, when Cody's positioning himself for the ultimates, when everybody is right where they need to be. It's fun to watch a team that works together like that.
Oh yeah, that was actually a big delight to watch as well. I like the synergy that we're seeing where everybody is definitely in charge of something. You can see it where Flame is flanking, engaging. Olay, same thing, risky plays, flash forward, feels empowered to go for them. And if he screws it up, then it's not a huge deal. They'll try again afterwards. So that's what I'm seeing from Immortals here is everybody is really pulling their weight. It's not the Dardoch show. It's not week 1 or 2. Nobody having to overexert themselves and making unforced errors.
And if you're Team Liquid, though, you got to be thinking about what this loss means, because game number 1 may have been a stomp. Game number 2 was a game that a lot of us were looking at and saying, yeah, they're looking good in this game. They should be winning this game. And then
that Baron,
some poor decision-making around that mid-game, that massive objective was the one swing that put this game right back into Immortals' hands.
Flame giving the smile.
He's happy. Why wouldn't he be, man? 2-0 this week? They got to be feeling good.
Yeah, and on your Liquid point, the macro call of going for the Baron, not abusing the Shen, like that was a game where you look at that and you go, okay, you wouldn't be able to be like, okay, Shen was definitely in this game, and Shen was definitely a large impact in this game. No, they dove him early, got set behind, and then it was very slow to actually try and take over the game, but he wasn't doing a whole lot of abusive ultimate plays. He wasn't trying to get the teleport out of Flame. It's a Maokai, so you're not going to lose too much when you let him split push against you if you leave, but they weren't making plays on the other side. And I think a lot of this comes down to like catch potential. They don't really have enough catch potential on that team. No hard CC to even interrupt like Misfortune. Not enough to really just start fights off unless the Shen is already there.
And it's one thing we saw, a lot of those Stand Uniteds were actually aimed at his own team members when it seemed like they were getting into a 1v1 and he wasn't totally sure if they were going to win. It was a safety net. Yep. Right? It was not this tool that was used to say, okay, you go in, I'm going to join you, we can make some kind of a play. The reactionary play style just was not suited to what they were trying to do.
Yeah, and when we see other teams play the Shen, we're seeing them synergize with something that jumps in. Even a Kha'Zix, right? Rengar, we're seeing junglers that want to be aggressive, that want to dive in. We've seen it with Evelynn as well for like FlyQuest. So Shen is a champion that has a lot of potential to start these fights off with some assistance, but we weren't seeing that abuse, and if he starts it off incorrectly and doesn't catch the Misfortune, then that's kind of the fight there as Cody guns people down.
It's a rough time, but for a first-hand account on that series, let's hear from Pastry and Immortals rookie carry.
Thank you very much. I'm here with the new kid on the block. It is Cody's son. Fantastic series played by you and your team. But I have to ask you, you are the new guy to the LCS. Just what has it been like after the last 3-4 weeks?
After the first 3 weeks, we weren't doing so hot, so it wasn't the best of times. But for this week, we tried really hard. We buckled down and we tried really hard in practice and put in a lot of extra hours. And yeah, I think this week it showed.
Certainly have to agree. I want to ask you about the metagame in general, though. We've seen a lot of utility AD carries, lots of Varus, lots of Ashe, but you've been pulling out Misfortune in this series here as well. Do you feel more comfortable in that sort of metagame? Do you prefer the hyper carries? Like, what kind of AD carry player are you? Or do you think you're just pretty versatile?
I think I'm pretty versatile. Like, I can play hyper carries, I can play utility carries. Just like I try to find the best pick in the meta and like the OP picks, and then I just try to play them. So yeah, I don't really have a preference or anything.
Cool. And of course, being on a new team, you rely on your experienced players to really lift you up. What has the rest of the team been like? Kind of who's the leader for that team, both in and out of game? Who's kind of helping you along, guiding you through your new journey into the LCS?
I think Eugene's been really helpful. He's like the leader kind of in the team, and he does the huddles. He does the good quotes, get us like hyped up before our matches. So yeah, I'll say Eugene.
Nice. And one final question for you. I know you're actually a highly rated Go player, which was something I found out before the season started. I have to ask you, it's a very deep strategy game that's very complex. Are you kind of bringing some of that big brain, some of that strategy?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of like macro plays in Go, and macro plays in League of Legends are kind of similar. So yeah, it's been good.
There you are, ladies and gentlemen, the first AD carry with a brain. Just joking there. Cody, so congratulations on the win here in the series. But back to the analyst desk to wrap up the day.
Thank you very much, Pastry Time. Immortals are going to be very happy with the way that this weekend has gone for them, picking up 2 match victories and this series here in 2-0 fashion. Of course, the second game, not as dominant as the first, but I want to work our way through this because the first game almost did feel gifted with that one early engagement and such a large gold advantage. Hard to not win. This time around, though, it was more on Immortals to claw their way into this game. So let's track a few plays here, the 2 faces of Immortals, in a sense. The first of which, a very intelligent crafted roam by Pobelter and Dardoch up to the top lane, putting the pressure on the Shen.
And this is something we hadn't seen much out of Immortals, is Dardoch and Pobelter doing things together that actually works out well. So seeing this roam was awesome. The fact that that was a kill that not only shuts him down, denies the wave. He has no TP to get back. It puts Shen way behind for the rest of the game.
Plus, key improvements, they learned from previous dives in the season where Flame would be on Maokai. He would twisted advance to start the dive and then have tower aggro the whole time, and he died. This time around, he waits until he can get his Arcane Smash, saves the twisted advance to drop the tower aggro.
Well, and this is the thing.
Also.
This seems like a small play, and in a sense, it is a small play. Picked up 1 kill, got a small CS advantage and an experience advantage in the top lane, but the steps in which they took to get there, it shows forethought from this team. And that's what we'd like to see more of, because not 10 minutes later, we kind of see the other face of Immortals, where they're not fully thinking through all the possibilities of a play. Still aggressive, and that's the thing. So 17 minutes in, let's take a look at this one. Failed gank in the top lane. Once again, making a stab at something that, if it works, big advantage. But they're not taking into account all of the members of Team Liquid that can close this gap.
It's just kind of playing into what TL's team comp wants to do. They have the Shen ultimate to come cover the Corkyus pushing in the side lane. They have the Redemption on the Ivern, able to come in from pretty much anywhere. And then TL has a little bit more control in the mid lane. They're able to collapse and get people in position to punish that attempt. So it was just a case of Immortals not really thinking about everything that is available on the side of Team Liquid.
It's a counter-engaged comp. I mean, you have Ivern, you have Shen, you also have the long range from Jhin.
Karma.
It thrives when you overextend like this. So yeah, just taking a couple of those things into account before prepping those moves. Other than that, yeah, Team Liquid are looking so much better. A lot of improvements for them. And
Immortals is what you meant there.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Team Liquid
not looking as improved.
Okay.
That's not to say, again, that Team Liquid didn't have their moments, but for the most part, we are seeing larger steps forward for Immortals here. Again, that play didn't go in their favor, but if it had, it probably would have blown the game wide open. Team Liquid now has control at this stage of the game, but as you mentioned, not without their mistakes. Let's take a look, 28 minutes into the game. Attempt of the Baron here by Team Liquid, but what is his positioning by Piglet?
I don't know, he's like really embraced the new sniper meta, because he did it last night also on Varus, and he was up behind the Baron when the team was doing, Baron, but they all kind of kite back here, but you've got a Maokai snare, Misfortune ultimate comes through with a huge zone, and so it really frees up the Kazakhs. Even though Dardak goes super deep here and does get popped, like, they have enough DPS left and chase them down, and that's the swing where they then can take the Baron after that, and Team Liquid loses the, what the hold they had on that game.
And with what we were talking about, how their comp is mostly a counter-engaged comp, this is exactly the opposite of what you want to do with that comp. You pin yourself up against the wall. Sure, they can kind of kite out to the top side, but they're not going to like turn off the Baron aggressively or anything like that. So they end up just getting engaged on by Flame, which sets up Cody Sun for the nice ultimate.
And the reason they went for that play was because they had just picked off Olay. But Olay is the least threatening member of Immortals, and the things you're worried about are the Twisted Advance Maokai on the front and this big Misfortune ultimate.
So player of the game going to Flame, honorable mention in Cody Sun, as you just mentioned, two big picks there, being able to lock somebody down and then having that bullet time come across the top. It's been a successful pick for Cody Sun so far and has allowed them, I think, again, some flexibility in the draft to be able to ban out that Varus early, right? Say, okay, you can take the Jhin. We're not going to give Piglet this ADC that he feels most comfortable on, where he's flash engaging as Varus. Let's keep him in that sniper mode where he seems a little bit more uncomfortable.
I think it's just very nice to see Immortals finally finding something that works for them, because before we saw them like first picking Jason, giving it to Flame, be like, please carry us, and that's obviously didn't work for them during the period that they were doing that. Here we saw Morgana in the past as well. Now it seems more like Thresh and the Misfortune as well being something that they have that they can pick, and it's really working for them.
At the end of the day, though, it seems like the takeaways for Immortals is that we've got movement in the right direction, still have leagues to go in terms of cleanliness and making sure that, we're putting forethought into whatever our next strategy is going to be, and really covering ourselves for the different outcomes, risk-reward situations we might be able to run into. That's going to close out the weekend, so let's go ahead and take a look at how the teams fall into the standings at the end of the day. Not going to close out the weekend.
I was going to let you go. I was like, he's got it.
It's the end of my weekend. I won't be here tomorrow. But with Cloud9 still in first, FlyQuest maintains second place alongside TSM. Despite their loss, though, Phoenix One maintained their hold of fourth, with Immortals doing the same at fifth place. Meanwhile, the rest of the league trickles down, with Envy and Team Dignitas sharing ninth place. Now, we still have a full day of matches coming up tomorrow, starting with CounterLogic Gaming versus Phoenix One on NALCS 1. After that, former sister teams face off as FlyQuest look to give Cloud9 their first loss. On NALCS 2, Echo Fox go against TSM, followed by Team Dignitas facing Envy in the Battle Arena. I think most eyes are going to fall on that FlyQuest C9 game tomorrow.
Yeah, we are still going to do LCS, even though you won't be here, Dash. The FlyQuest Cloud9, everybody's looking forward to it. Obviously, the story is well known throughout the league community, but it's just going to be so fun to see Hai and the old Cloud9 guys clash up against
Do you think they have what it takes? I mean, let's be real here. There is a lot of hype building around.
They are definite underdogs. But I'm getting drawn in to the FlyQuest hype. But they're definitely underdogs. Everybody stay rooted.
But it's not too far-fetched to see a world in which they win. Because if Jensen doesn't get off the ground and maybe they're able to
tilt him.
Yeah, who knows? They get a good draft and C9 can't quite
jungle
keep up with
mid matchups. That's exactly where I'm looking for that tomorrow. I mean, with Moon kind of rising to this new level of authority next to Hai, but then Contract performing very well in his rookie split.
I'm glad you bring that up, because Moon in his interview was just brimming with confidence, and he was like, "Yeah, I got no weight on my shoulders. I feel good going into it. I'm just free to."
I love that little tidbit. He's like, "Well, it's."
I won't directly quote him, but he said he was going to do well.
Right. No, I loved his quote about why he has that confidence. He's like, "Well, it's just because in scrims, Hai and I both just suicide a lot together."
He suicides harder.
Right, exactly. So he's like, it's just like I can't perform worse on stage than we do in scrims sometime, and that maybe unlocks him a little bit. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for the day. Now, for myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow for more North American LCS. Good night.
It is game time. Hello, everyone. We're locked and loaded for our first series of the day with CounterLogic Gaming versus Echo Fox. The Gate is solo on this one again. Canadian Low gets taken down by Huhi. Gets a little bit of speed by tearing the health apart. They're going to stand in front of those last shots. Nobody should. Oh, you want Eagle Eye! Come on!
My dogs are killing all of them. Yo, I'm gonna come kill everybody. Let's go, boys. Can't kill everybody. I killed them first.
Still doing damage, but Anori goes down. First spot to Hai. He does die to Ryu, but that's another kill for FlyQuest. Hai tries to make a hero play. Moon secures it, and FlyQuest are going to take this one. Turrets are just going to melt, and FlyQuest take one of the most decisive games of this spring.
And this is now really dangerous. He's out of cooldowns. Svenskeren, he's got to be careful. Oh, Sven
the end. Tackle would die in one more shot. What a play by Turtle. He waits or predicts the flash and have to tell again, but that was beautiful.
Oh, what about going for them? Maybe end. Yeah, let's go for them. Let's go for them. Cannon? Wow, what the fuck? They won, guys.
Don't cut off anyone. That'd be nice. You can cut off other people, but when Lord Froggen is talking and you interrupt him, there's a fine.
I will interrupt you, and if you guys keep talking, I will be mad.
That bottom here, and Ole going for the play.
Ole looking to make the play. Here comes bullet time. Piglet is going to be absolutely eviscerated. Nautilus ultimate used here onto the Maokai, but there's that bullet time I'm talking about. Cody's son.
Immortals with game number 1.
Hold on, I can't watch that.
Cody's taking shot after shot after shot after shot. Piglet grabbing the kill.
They still have Shen ulti.
Hi, Burn.
My god. Nice.
And after a rough first half of the game, Immortals are looking to end this one 2-0.